This module explores some ways of engaging students in learning mathematics by looking at examples of technology-enabled learning, assessment for and as learning, responsive teaching, as well as integrating mathematics across the curriculum. What if schools provided an environment where students feel free to dream about their futures, where they are able to connect their passions with possible career options, and where the opportunities and resources needed to support these decisions are provided? At Great Lakes Public School, educators are using technology-enabled learning practices to encourage higher-level thinking skills in mathematical processes.
Technology really allows the kids to have a buy-in. It gives them an opportunity to get involved, to really kind of get their hands dirty with math. In today's lesson, we started with just a really quick survey. The fact that they have something in front of them, this generation especially is very technology-oriented. And if you don't grab their attention early in a lesson, you tend to struggle for the 40 minutes of a lesson. Technology allows you to grab them right away. And it really makes math applicable.
Educator Aaron Walker adds that technology allows students to reflect and represent their learning using a variety of representations and tools, providing students with different strategies to demonstrate the full range of their learning in mathematics.
We can take something like a graph and import it into something like an infographic, and we can use that to talk about media literacy. We can use it to talk about inferencing and making connections.
At Great Lakes, students have the opportunity to develop practical 21st century skills to prepare them for the jobs of the future. So they started a computer coding club.
We know going forward that there's going to be an excess of those types of jobs in the future, and not enough students will have those skills going forward. So we were really overwhelmed by the response that we had from our students. So we had probably like 60 to 80 students who showed up.
By providing a space for students to drive their own learning, the teacher's role has shifted from being an instructor to being more of a facilitator.
We then looked at it and tried to look at how we can use those experts that we have in our school to lead other students.
I would look at the screen up there. It shows us which ports are active. So port B and C can be active.
Now they're kind of running the club themselves, so we're basically facilitators.
For one student, the club has inspired her to dream about her future, and she hopes to pursue a career as an engineer. She says the coding club gives her a safe space to connect with her new passion and learn along the way.
You can make as many mistakes as you want, and nobody judges you on it, and you learn from them. So the next time you do something, you know you're not going to make the same mistake again, and you make it better the next time.
And it's not just the students who are learning. The principal at Holy Redeemer Catholic School says they help the teachers feel more comfortable experimenting with technology through professional learning sessions.
We'll just have breakout time, and one of the centers is if you want to learn more about Twitter, come here kind of thing. And teachers come and they bring their devices, and we show them how to set it up and then how easy it is just to take a picture and post. And so we don't force anyone either. You know, it comes from, I'm ready for this learning at this time. I see the benefits of it.
At Eastwood Public School, teachers supervise students as they keep parents up to date with that learning via social media. For example, through a class Twitter account.
So we have a student that usually captures what the students are doing, and they tweet that out. And it might be one student doing it, or it might be, okay, can I put this out? I'm really proud of it. And it's always, of course you can.
Feeling more confident in using technology, educators are now leveraging technology not just to engage students, but also as a way to facilitate assessment for learning.
What I've started to do is use Google Slides, and it creates a digital portfolio where I can share the document with all of my students. They work together either individually or in groups, all on the same task. and then I have it all together on one document where I can easily give feedback right on the slide itself. And the great thing is then they can access the slide at home or at school. They can integrate some of the feedback that I'm giving to them. It also gives me a sort of a guideline for who I need to work with in small groups, who I need to hear more from so they can explain their thinking, so I can see what they were thinking and where I can close any gaps that might be there.
At Eastwood, assessment for learning is also facilitated through digital portfolios in the form of a blog that students can update each day, and teachers use it as a way to provide clear and descriptive feedback to students.
Sarah and I can go on later on today or on our prep or tonight, and we go through those.
Over at Great Lakes, students are engaging in assessment as learning by creating digital portfolios centered on their learning journey in mathematics. And students are provided the opportunity to showcase their portfolio through student-led conferences with their teacher and parent.
For me, math is a priority that I love doing. My goals for math would be for me to learn a new method of solving equations or just learn a whole new unit.
Educators at Great Lakes recognize the importance of fostering the integration of parents as partners in supporting student achievement in mathematics. They commonly invite parents to be part of Number Talks, which has students and parents solving mathematical problems mentally, discussing different strategies, and collectively identifying next steps in their learning.
There was really meaningful math dialogue happening between the parents and students. So I put parents in the role of the teacher, and then the students were the ones who were giving them strategy as well. You know, mom, dad, this is how I solved 19 plus 16. What I noticed was the parents were very impressed. Not only that their children were able to communicate these different strategies, but that math was taught in this totally different way. They can see that there are different access points to questions, and there's not necessarily one way of doing things when it comes to math. I think what they learned is that it's okay for my child to be flexible with numbers. It's okay for my child to manipulate numbers. That, you know, you don't have to carry the one all the time. Like, there's other ways of doing it, and that's okay.
Effective teaching in mathematics provides students, teachers, and parents with different ways to engage in assessment for and as learning, but also leverages this learning to inform a responsive approach to teaching the big ideas in mathematics, while also providing multiple entry points to engage in mathematical thinking.
For instance, if you're doing rounding, we don't do 2 weeks of rounding in September and then just leave it for the rest of the year. So these big ideas are circled through throughout the year, so children are constantly getting exposure to it. And so those that need extra practice are getting those extra practices. They're less focused on the answer and more focused on the process.
Ensuring there are multiple entry points for students and encouraging them to defend their thinking has allowed students at Holy Redeemer to develop self-efficacy, which in turn has made math more exciting at this school.
Kids really feel that they can do well in math, and they're actually excited, and they want to share their strategies, and they want to show different ways that, you know, they have this ability to succeed. And it, the open-ended questioning, the rich tasks, it really does give everybody a point that they feel they can be successful.
At Eastwood, multiple entry points in mathematics has been integral for educators like Sandra Dieters and Amanda Mundy. Since they teach a grade 5-6 class, they need to ensure that they are providing responsive instruction to meet the different learning needs of their students.
Kids come in math, they do a minds on, and we're able to look at each other across the room and we peg out who needs a little extra practice that day, and then we're able to pull those kids in small group. That team teaching atmosphere has allowed us to be able to do that on a daily basis.
And it's also allowed them to grow as educators while students continue to benefit.
2 brains are better than 1, and that's what we work towards, is that we bring our ideas, we bring teaching practice.
And for 4.5 years, each year I feel like we've been getting better and better at it. It's important that we each bring in our own strengths. And so as teachers, we have different styles, and I've learned a lot over time from Amanda.
They know that their needs are going to be met that day. They know that there's always someone they can go to when they need something.
Effective instruction in mathematics involves making those important cross-curricular connections that allow students to see that mathematics is all around them. One way Westmount Junior School accomplishes this is through their Math Rainbow.
This was an activity that we did as a whole school, kindergarten to grade 5, so that students could see that those connections, they're there, they're real. They're not always obvious at first, but now you've got students standing in front looking at, okay, so there's math and health, and so we are looking at measurement, we're looking at nutrition. They're making those connections, and they're seeing then that what they're learning in math is directly related across our curriculum and in what they're learning every day.
Another initiative which allows students to experience the applicability of math to everyday life is through the school's Eco Club. It started off with a group of students who wanted to help implement a green bin program. While collecting organic material from each class, they started noticing patterns, which challenged them to apply their mathematical processes.
We were working on data in class at the time, so one of the students came up to me and said, we should really write some of this down so we know whether to even bother collecting their bin now or the next day. And it sort of snowballed again into, okay, well, how are we going to organize this information and keep track of this?
Manisha Patel is the teacher who facilitates the club and says once a month they sit down to discuss what they've collected and how it impacts the earth.
Wait, 1.6.
They're emptying green bins out. They're making a graph. They're recording data, and they're seeing how over time it can make a huge difference if you're using a green bin properly. And for them, I can see that their passion has grown.
Westmount has even included their environmental focus in planning a STEM night with the community, focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.